Hi, this is Christine Hahn. I'm going to give you a quick look at Honors Bio A and Honors Bio B. And if you look at the homepage of Honors Bio A, you can see some of the topics covered. So we do the scientific method, making medical measurements, atoms, molecules, enzymes, cells, homeostasis, DNA. One of the things I like to do is tie each of the topics to something health related. So, for example, when we're learning about homeostasis, we study what happens when homeostasis fails. And one example would be a case study of diabetes. So they study what happens in diabetes. Obviously, cell division, what happens when that fails. We have cancer. We look at DNA and protein synthesis and genetic diseases, since that's also connected. With meiosis, we look at chromosomal disorders. So I try to kind of tie in something that might relate to their health situation in the future, or just understanding health better. So we'll take a look at a couple of the activities. So if I come to the content, I try to make the course as interactive as possible. So one example, like in the scientific method, I really enjoy this activity because it uses Mark Rober, who's one of my favorite people. So we're looking at, scientific method. He does a great experiment testing whether sharks prefer human blood or fish blood. So I actually have them analyze his experiment. So they learn about the scientific method, they analyze his experiment, and then they come up with their own experiment. If we look at block 2, making metric measurements, I have them do medical measurements. So, when they're graphing hormone levels, measuring. So they're learning conversions of centimeters, meters. They're doing it with measuring bones. So here's an example of the graphing hormone levels. They have to measure these bones. One is fractured and one is not. So I just try to kind of connect it to things that are, in the health sciences. And I find that learners really find it more engaging. Let's do one more. So, homeostasis, they learn about osmosis diffusion, feedback loops, and then I have them do like a case study on someone who they learn about diabetes, and then they do a case study on 3 patients, and they kind of determine, who's diabetic and what are some of the symptoms and treatment plans. So that's Honors Bio A. I did throw in a COVID unit just because it was so relevant the last couple years. And then for the final project, they get to choose one of the topics that they really want to go for kind of a deeper dive. So there's lots of different options, and then they can choose to pick one for their final project. For Honors Bio B, we have topics that are more about ecology and evolution. And then we finish with the human body by doing a virtual fetal pig dissection. And then also this unit I really like because it talks about drugs and how they affect our neurotransmitters. And students really seem to enjoy learning about that as well. So here are a couple activities from the second semester. So learning about cell respiration, we kind of I give them an opportunity to do this experiment if they want to order bromothymol blue. Otherwise, they can watch somebody else demonstrate the lab for the BTB part. The rest they can do on their own by like measuring their heart rate and breathing rate, and just kind of bringing that back to cell respiration and how exercise affects cell respiration. Let's see. So when they do evolution, there's a lab where they can choose 4 of the 5 stations to look at different evidences of evolution. And so here's an answer sheet, but here are the station sheets. So they could compare DNA sequences, they could compare digestive tracts, they could compare amino acid sequences, or embryo similarities. And so I try to make it as hands-on as possible or as interactive as possible. We also have gizmo labs. So with each gizmo lab, that's a way to also do kind of an interactive lab. So we use those online. Usually I have an instructional video for each gizmo lab, but looks like I don't have one for that one. Antibiotic resistance, they kind of learn about that, and we have sort of a I usually do this in the classroom when I was teaching in the classroom, but so I recorded, the results of one of these labs, but they have to kind of still work through the lab and set it up and explain what happens, and then they sketch the results from my video demonstration. And then for the fetal pig, they have the option to order their own fetal pig to dissect, or they can do it using these great dissection videos that take you step by step. So, and then they fill this out. And then as they finish, they have to create their own surgery video. Not really surgery video, but they focus on one of the systems, and then they have to make sure that they include information about that system, depending on which system they do. This is the drug and nervous system unit that I really find that learners are super engaged with, and just understanding the effect of drugs on the brain. So we do that, and then reproductive system, and again, another final project option where they get to choose a topic to go for a deeper dive. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little glimpse of the honors biology class. Please let me know if you have any other questions.